मी, आणि त्याच्यानंतरचा मॉक जो असेल पुन्हा 2 वीकनी, तर त्यावेळेस तो पुन्हा एक्सटर्नल कडनं होईल. ठीक आहे. सो आपले प्रत्येक 2 वीकने एक मॉक होईल. ओके. आणि अल्टरनेट असेल, म्हणजे एक मॉक मी आणि एक मॉक एक्सटर्नल. ओके, बिकॉज वी हॅव टू पे देम. ओके, सो ते होईल. सो सेकंड मॉक मीच घेणार आहे. सो त्याचं जे हे आहे, त्याचं जे फर्स्ट मॉक जो आपण घेतला, तर तसाच सेकंड मॉक पण होईल. 15 to 20 मिनिटचा एकाचा चालेल जवळपास. आणि टॉपिक जे असतील तर ते टॉपिक जे आपले झालेत ऑलरेडी कव्हर, आय थिंक टपल पर्यंत झाले होते, तर त्याच्या पुढचे होतील आता. ओके, सो आता याच्यामध्ये असेल इफ लूप, फॉर लूप, त्याच्यानंतर डिक्शनरी, सेट. ठीक आहे, तर त्याच्यावरती होईल. मी ती लिस्ट पाठवतो तुम्हाला. जस्ट गो थ्रू द लिस्ट अँड जस्ट स्टार्ट दी प्रिपरेशन. सो फर्स्ट मॉक सारखं जर थोडस दुर्लक्ष जर झालं असेल फर्स्ट मॉक मध्ये, तर थोडस आणखी व्यवस्थित तुम्हाला करायला पाहिजे. ओके, सो पे अटेन्शन अँड ट्राय टू कम्प्लीट द थिंग्स ऑन टाइम. टुडे वी आर गोइंग टू see the next part of the pandas. So we have a lot of lecture on pandas, because as I mentioned earlier also, pandas is very important for data scientist. Okay, so एक second. Okay, so whatever the functions are there in a panda, so basically always remember you should be very better with these things. numpy मध्ये हार्डली 5 ते 6 कमांड्स आहेत ज्या रेग्युलरली आपण यूज करतो. त्याच्यामध्ये आहे आपलं रिशेप आहे, त्याच्यानंतर एनडीम आहे, राईट. सो इथे 4-5 कमांड आहेत. ॲरे, ठीक आहे, अरेंज, याच्या 4-5 कमांड ज्या आहेत त्याच फक्त रेग्युलरली numpy मधले यूज होतात. पण पांडास खूप इम्पॉर्टंट आहे. पांडास मधले ऑलमोस्ट ऑल द कमांड्स वी हॅव टू यूज. ओके, सो ज्या काही कमांड्स आपण क्लासमध्ये घेणार आहेत, सो त्या सगळ्या कमांड्स तुम्हाला ऑलमोस्ट यूज करायला लागतात. त्याच्यामुळे ते लॉजिक तुमचं चांगलं डेव्हलप जर करायचं असेल किंवा चांगलं बेटर करायचं असेल, तर तुम्हाला या ज्या काही पांडासचे लेक्चर्स आहेत, तर ते सगळे तुम्हाला एकदम प्रॉपरली तुम्हाला अंडरस्टँड करून त्याची प्रॅक्टिस प्रॉपर झालीच पाहिजे. Okay, so it's very important in that particular way. So let us start with the pandas. So we'll see what we have seen up till now, and we'll just take the next part of it. Now we have seen that we are having these two libraries, pandas and numpy. So this is the alias name. Pandas is PD and numpy is NP. So we can use any alias name. So we have seen that we can create a data frame by using this command called as a pd.data frame. Remember, this D is capital and this F is capital. So here we have created an empty data frame. So that's why we are not seeing anything here. If you wanted to see actually, then you need to print this data frame. At that time, you'll be able to see what we have there. So you can see it's empty data frame. There are no columns. So list of columns is empty and list of index is empty. So we can assign the columns and rows in this particular data frame by using the assignment method, which is similar to dictionary method. So here we call the data frame name, that is df. Then the square bracket, we have this a, which is the column name. Okay, and here we are using this np.random int. Here we are creating the numbers from 1 to 60. How many numbers we are going to create? Total 70 numbers. So here we can see that we have started the number from 0 to 69. So total, if you count, there are 70 numbers, and the numbers are there from 1 to 60. So if you check all these numbers, they are between 1 and 60. So in this way, we can assign the values to the data frame. So these were different numbers. So here if you do like this, suppose I am going to add a second column called as B and I'm assigning the value equal to 10. So what will happen? All the rows in this column B will be having the value equal to 10. That's why I have mentioned here. The next thing that we have discussed in the previous lecture was how to read a data frame, okay, from the CSV file or from the Excel file. So we can do that. So let us open this particular new file here. Let us import this pandas data frame as PD. Okay, then how to read the CSV? So I'll just simply say that PD dot read. Press tab, you will see the option to read the CSV. Then this brackets, these quotations, and here the name of the file is iris CSV. Okay. So yesterday, in the previous lecture, I told you if the file is there in another folder, then how to open that. Right now, the file, that CSV file and this untitled file, they are in the same folder. That's why we can directly give it a name of the file. Okay. So here, if you read this, you can see this is the file we have. Okay. Now we can store this in some variable name. Let us say df. So what we are saying, df is equal to this particular CSV file. Okay. Now, in previous lectures, we have seen some methods, right? So we have seen to look at top 5 records, we use this method called as a df.head. So this will give us top 5 records. Okay. And to see the multiple records, like suppose I wanted to see only 2 records, then you can say df.head2. Suppose if I wanted to say top 20 records, then I can say df.head. Inside this, I have to pass the number 20. So you can see top 20 records here. Okay. So if you don't pass anything, by default, it will take a number 5. So it will show top 5 records. So 0 to 4, that is 5 records. Now this is for seeing the top 5. Suppose if you wanted to see the bottom 5, then you have to use the command called as a tell. These are the bottom 5 records because our last record is 150. Okay, so ID of the last record is 150, but the index of last record is 149. Okay, because the index started from 0. Okay, so here we are able to see this 145, 146, 147, 148 and 149. So this is the 5 records. Suppose you wanted to see the bottom 10 records, just mention 10 number here and you will be seeing this number 142, 149. So this is the bottom 10 records we are seeing. So this is df.head and this is df.tell. Also we have seen one method there which is called as a df.describe. Okay, so what this df.describe gives us, it gives the mathematical things like mean, what is the mean, what is the standard deviation, what is the minimum value, what is the maximum value, and these 3 numbers here are the percentiles like 25th percentile, 50th percentile and this 75th percentile. Okay, so when we are going to start with the statistics, that is on the next week, at that time we are going to see what this 25, 50 and 75 means actually and their significance. But right now you just have to focus that we can see the statistics of the data frame by using this method called as a describe. Okay, next the method that we have seen is called as a df.info. Okay, so here we are able to see everything about the data frame, that is how many number of entries are there. So total 150 entries, index starts from 0, it goes up to 149. Okay, see the class, it is pandas.core.frame.dataframe. Then here how many columns are there, that also you can see. How many columns are there? Total 6 columns are there. Okay, the first column is ID, then this sepal length, sepal width, petal length, petal width and species. Okay, so these 6 columns are there. Now you can check how many number of records are there in each column. So here non-null entries, how many non-null? ID is having total 150 records. So out of 150, total 150 is present. For rest of the column also, all the records are present. But if you see for this column sepal length, the total number of records which are present is 143. What is the meaning of this? If 7 records are missing. Out of 150, 7 records are blank or they are missing. So that we can check from df.info. The next one important part that we can check is the data type. So we can see that data type of this ID is integer. If you check this ID, see these are the whole numbers without any decimal point. So these are integers. But if you see this sepal length, sepal width, this petal length and petal width, they are floats. You can check these numbers. These are floats. So if you see the data types, these are float 64. And finally, species, if you check, these are the names. This Virginica or few Sentosa, these are the names. Setosa, these are the names we are having. That's why this is an object. Okay, this is just like a string. Object and string, they are similar. Okay, so all the things here we are able to see with the this data frame.info. So these are the options that are available for us, right, that we have already seen. Tell, yes. Then few more options were there, like df dot shape. So what this gives us? This gives us number of rows and number of columns. So here 150 rows, 6 columns, right? Then we have this df dot column. So this will give us the list of column names. So first column name is id. Then these are the list. This is the list of column names. Also, it's saying the data type. It's object. So this every column name here. This is the string, right? That's why it's saying it's the object. Okay. So if you wanted to have the list of columns, you can use this list. By using this, you will get a list of column names which you can use for loop. Okay. You can iterate by using for loop. The next thing that we can have is df.index. Index is what? Starting from 0, it is going to 150, and step size we are having is 1. So this is what index is there. Okay. Also we have seen df.axis. What it gives? It gives a combination of df.column and df.index. So basically axis gives us a combination of these two. So we have seen a shape, columns, index and axis. So already in previous lecture we have seen that. We are just repeating so that you will able to understand this, right? So next part is the slicing part that we already discussed in the previous lecture. So how to do the slicing? So you just say df, in the bracket you mention, here the syntax is like rows, comma, columns. Okay, so how many rows you want to fetch and how many columns you want to fetch. So suppose I wanted to fetch 5 columns, oh sorry, 5 rows. So I'll say start from 0, go up to 5, comma. How many columns? I wanted to start with 0th column and I wanted to fetch up to column number 1. So if I run this particular code, it is giving us an error. Okay, sorry. Here we cannot put the column here right now. We'll just put the row, suppose. And if I run this, you can see we are having how many? 0 to 5 rows. See here. We started from 0. It will not go to 5. It will stop at 4 only. Okay. And it is giving us the all columns here. Okay. So in this way, we can do the slicing. So here we can put a, sorry, we can do the slicing operation. Now here we have done the slicing on the rows. Similarly, we can do the slicing on columns. Now if I say df, if I put a single square bracket and if I say this particular thing here, if I write like this, then the output is, you see the output, it's not a data frame. What is this? This is a series. If you check the type of this, you can see it's Python core.series.series. Okay, right. See, pandas core series.series. So when you put one square bracket, that is means one dimensional, and we have seen that in Python, in pandas if one dimensional object is called as a series, and if it is two dimensional like this, it will be considered as data frame. Right now we have put a single square bracket, right? In NumPy we have seen single square bracket means one dimensional and one dimensional means it will be a series. If you wanted to get two dimensional data frame, okay, then put one more square bracket, that means two square bracket at the start and two at the end. Now run this. Now you can see it's in the form of data frame now. Now if you check a data frame, whether it's a data frame or not, you can just check a type of it and you can see it's pandas.core.frame.data frame. So it's a data frame now. So in this way we have seen we can do the slicing operation. Now we can select a single column or we can select a multiple columns also. Now I wanted to select 2 columns at a time, suppose. like this. So we can do that also. What will happen if I just put one square bracket, then it will throw the error. Okay, because right now I'm having two columns. That means it's two dimensional now. Even if I'm having three columns, still it's two dimensional. Okay, because of that, if I put like this, it's still two dimensional object. Now to get it two dimensions, if I run this, it will throw the error. To get it two dimensions, I need to put two square bracket like this. Now if I run this, you'll get the actual data frame. Okay. So in this way, you can do the slicing operation. Now here also we can select a specific rows or specific column. So if I say here, I just wanted to select from 0 to 5 only, I can do like this also. Okay. So I can do the slicing operation on the this part. I can do it here, or I can do at 8 and you'll get the same operation here. Okay, or also on this I can perform the head or tail, because whatever the output is there of this one, that output is a data frame. So as long as the output is data frame, you can use the methods which are there for data frame, like head, tail, or info. We can use that. See, if I use info, still you'll be able to see that word. But if you see here now, in columns you are able to see only three columns which are mentioned here. See, sepal length, spaces, and petal length. Okay. So in this way you can play with the data frames. So this is the things that we have discussed in the previous lecture. Now today we are going to start with the new things which is called as a lock and ilock function. Now this is very important. Let me tell you how this particular lock and ilock works and what is the difference between this lock and ilock. Okay. So remember, it's very important because in interviews also they are going to ask the questions on this lock and ilock. Okay. So all of you just pay attention on this particular topic. It's very important. You need to understand the difference between lock and ilock. Okay. Now, what lock does? So lock is basically position based, or we can say name based. Okay, I'll just write name based. So lock is working on the name. Lock is based on the name, and ilock, okay, ilock is based on index. Okay, ilock is based on index. Okay, see here, this I function, I word here, I is for index. Okay, so what is lock? Basically, lock is a short form of locate. Okay, lock is short form of locate. So wanted to locate by using the name, then use lock. If you wanted to locate something by using its index, then use ilock. Okay, now we'll see the difference between lock and ilock practically. At that time you will understand it better. Okay, so for that what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create one dictionary. Okay, I'm going to say here dictionary, in which I'm going to say suppose this A is the key is to, let us put one list here. So A is to 1 comma 2 comma 3 like this. Okay, like this. And suppose the next key that I'm going to put here is B, and in that I'm storing suppose some values like, suppose one more list I'm putting here. I'm putting some numbers like 12, 43, 33, 76, 87, 69, and let us say 70. How many numbers we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay. Now let us take one more column like C here. Okay. And here I'll just make one list. Here I'll just put some alphabets like A1, suppose B2, C3. Now we have to have 7 characters here. C3. Let's say C4. Then B5. F6 and D7. Okay, so this is the dictionary that, sorry, what happened? Yes, we need to put a comma. This is the dictionary we are having. So now if I print a dictionary D1, you can see we are having these three things, right? So let me create a data frame from this. Okay, let us create a data frame. So here to create a data frame, I'll just use this df1 now, and I'll say data frame is equal to pd dot data frame d1. Okay, now you can see the data frame here. So if I print a d1, you can see indexing starts from 0, it goes to 6. Okay, how many columns we are having? 3 columns. The column is A, B, and C. Inside column A, 1 to 7 numbers are there. Here we are having some random numbers. Here we are having some like A1, B2, C3, C4, some like this thing, right? So in this way, we have created the data frame. Now, first of all, the first function that I'm going to explain here is iloc function. Okay. Now, how this iloc function is used? So syntax is like this: df1, that's the data frame name, dot iloc, then square bracket. See here, most of the times you might have seen that whatever the function we use, they use with a round bracket. But this lock and iloc function are different. Here we don't use round brackets, we use a square bracket. Now how this works? So iloc is basically index number. So index numbers start from 0 and it goes to 6, right? Suppose if I wanted to fetch this column 0 up to column 3, sorry, row 0 up to row 3. So how can I do the slicing of that? So this is just a slicing. How can I do this? So I'll just say from 0 is 2. I wanted to go to 3. So I have to put one number extra, that is 4. So I'll just write here 4. Let me run this. Can you see? We have started with row 0, then row 1, row 2, and row 3. It will not go to row 4. This is what iloc. It will be indexed. Okay, it is index based. Okay, now see this index. Okay, the name of this particular position is 0. Now I'm not saying index number, I'm saying name. See, numbers 0, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6 are there. Names are also same, like 0, 1, 2, 3. So in this particular case, for data frame 1, what I'm going to write, see here, index and name are same. Okay, now let me use lock now. Let us see what difference occurs here. If I say df1 dot lock, and if I pass the same values, that is 0 is to 4. Now see here, what is the difference here? For iloc, these are the index numbers. So these are for iloc. For iloc, we have index numbers. So these are index numbers. How these index numbers are taken? So it will take 0, 1, 2, 3. It will not take 4. But for lock, what are these? These are names. Okay, these are names. These are not numbers now. These are names like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it will fetch all. It will take 0, 1, then it will take 2, then it will take 3, then it will take 4 also. Okay, that is the main difference between iloc and lock. Iloc consider this as a numbers. Okay, iloc considers as a number, and lock consider as a name. And the basic difference is that iloc will not go up to whatever the number which is written here. It will not go up to that number, but lock will go up to that number. Let me run this. Can you see the difference here? See, both of them started with 0, but iloc stopped at 3. But see here, lock has considered 4. So what is lock considering? It's saying I wanted to start from name 0, which is the name 0, this one, and I wanted to print the name 4 also. I wanted to fetch the name 4 also. So it is fetching the name 4 also. That is what a basic major difference between this iloc and this lock. Okay, is this clear to everyone? Are you understanding the major difference between iloc and lock? See, we are taking few more examples where it will be more clear. Okay, now let us create one more data frame now by using a dictionary. So I'll just create one more dictionary D2. Here the dictionary D2 is going to have the key as names, Inside the names, we are putting some name. Suppose I'm taking some name as A. A is the name of the first person. Then BB, suppose. Then suppose CC. Right. Let us take 4 to 5 names so that we can actually see the major difference between this lock and iLock. Okay. So how many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. Now let us add a few more things here. So I'll just add names here. I'll just add the marks of these people. So consider that is also a list. So suppose 20, 21, 19, 16, or 19 once again, and 40. And let us add one more thing here. What can we add? Let us add a division of these people. Okay. So let us have a list of divisions. So consider that these are from A division, first 3 students, and next is from C division, next is from B and B. Okay, so this is the dictionary we are having. Okay, see the dictionary. We are having names, we are having marks, and we are having division. Now let me create a data frame. Now I'm going to use one option here. See here. While creating a data frame, see this one. This is the dictionary we are having. In the dictionary, we are having 3 keys: A, B, and C. So all the keys, that is A, B, C, are considered as the column names, right? And to create an index, it is generated by using a numbers, right? Index is generated by using a number. So first number is 0 and last number is 6, because totally there are 7 data points here. Okay. Now I'm going to show you one option here. So see that option. Pay close attention to that option, what I'm using here. So I'm going to create a data frame from this dictionary D2. Now the option that I'm going to show here is index. Index is equal to, suppose I'm going to use names. Now this will throw the error. What is the name? Index. Index is same index. Okay. D2 and index is equal to names. Okay. Put it the same. Okay. Oh. Okay. Yes. Now let me show you the next option. We can. Now I wanted to make this name here as index. Okay. I wanted to make this column names as an index. So there is one way by which we can do this. I'll just simply say df2 dot set index. Okay, there is an option called as the set index, and here I'll just pass the name of the column, that is names. Now you can see the names are there in a index column. Can you see the difference? See here. First, we are having this all at the same level, that is names, marks, and division. Right now, if you see our data frame, mark and division, they are at the same level, but names, if you see, that is at like some other level, and that is nothing but an index. Now you can see previously our index were the numbers, that is starting from 0 going up to 5, but here our indexes are not numbers, they are alphabets like A, B, B, C, C, D, D, like this. Okay, so if I run the df2 once again, it will be the original. See, it's original. So this is just a copy of that. So I wanted to store this copy in some other name. So I'll just say df3 is equal to, and I'll just print this df3. Now you can see. Now let us work with df3. Okay. Now let me show you the main difference now between lock and ilock. So suppose if I say df3 dot lock, if I use square bracket, now see here what I said here, lock must be name. For this particular case, numbers from 0 to 4. But if you see this particular thing now, df.lock, now if you see, these are now alphabets, these are not numbers. So here if I pass a number like 0 to 4, it will throw the error. What it is saying? Cannot slice indexing on index with this indexers of type integer. So it's saying we cannot use integer data type here. Okay, we cannot use integer data type. Why? Because our index is a object, it's a string. So in this particular case, to do the indexing by using this lock, we need to pass in names here. So what is the name we are having? So first name is AA. Suppose I wanted to go from AA to suppose I wanted to fetch all the records from AA to DD, suppose. I'll just say DT. Now if I run this, now you can see it is fetching from AA to DD. Now remember, lock function always consider this also and this also. Okay, see here, it is going to fetch AA, also DD, and in between whatever the alphabets we are having, it will fetch all. That is the major difference. Okay, now here you have seen, right? If I use the numbers here, then it will throw the error. Now similarly, how to use the ilock function here? So I'll just simply say df dot ilock, a square bracket. What will happen if I use like this? If I say like this, it will throw the error. What is the error? We cannot use string data type here, right? We cannot use string because I is basically index, and indexes are always a number. So here, see, at 0th index we have name. This is the first index, this is the second index, and this is the third index. So if I say from 0 to 3, from 0 to 3, then it will fetch AA, BB, and CC. It will not go for DD because it will not consider last index. It will generate only 0, 1, and 2, right? So 0, 1, and 2. It will not consider 3. That is the main difference between ilock and lock. Okay. Now, any question in this part? Any question? Now let me show you. Now we have seen only slicing of rows. I wanted to select a specific column by using this lock and ilock. Okay. So let us see how to do that. So I'll just say df dot ilock, then the square bracket. I'll just use from 0 to let us say I wanted to fetch up to 4. So I'll just put number 5. So it will fetch how many? 4 rows, comma. Now this is for row, and after comma what you write, it's for the column. So there are 3 columns. So column A is at 0th index, column B is at index 1, and column C is at index 2. Suppose I wanted to fetch column A and B. How can I write? So I can say 0 is to 2. So what will happen? 0 is to 2 means 0 and 1. 0 and 1 means A and B. So if I run this particular code, you can see we have fetched 0 to 4. See, 0 to 4 rows, and how many columns? 0 to 1 column, that is A and B. So this is by using a ilock. Now how to do the same thing by using a lock function? So here I have to say df dot lock, a square bracket. Now see, I wanted to fetch up to 4 only, right? So I'll not say 5 here. What I will say? 0 is to 4, because lock will consider starting as well as the end. Okay. Now let us run this. So you can see it has went from 0 to sorry, df1. So it has fetched from 0 to 4. So same. But now I wanted to fetch only A and B. Right now it is taking A and B and C all. Now let me put a comma. Now what will happen if I put number 0 is to 2 there? What do you think? Is it going to work? Before running this, can anyone tell me, is it going to work? See, ilock worked. Ilock worked. Is this log going to work? No. No. Right? It's not going to work. Why? We need to write A, B, C, or A to C. Okay. Okay. See, the thing is that, as I mentioned, see, ilock काय कन्सिडर करतं रे? सिंपल वर्ड्स मध्ये ilock काय कन्सिडर करतं? इंडेक्स कन्सिडर करतं. इंडेक्सचे नंबर कन्सिडर करतं. इथे जरी तुमचं एबीसी होतं, इंडेक्सला ए चा इंडेक्स काय होता? 0 होता. बी चा इंडेक्स काय होता? 1 होता. सी चा इंडेक्स काय होता? 2 होता. सो आयलॉक मध्ये ज्यावेळेस आपण नंबर पास करतो, आयलॉक हे इंडेक्सच कन्सिडर करतं. त्याच्यामुळे इथे नंबर पास केल्यानंतर त्याने करेक्ट आउटपुट दिलं. बट लॉक मध्ये काय होतं? लॉक मध्ये नेम कन्सिडर करतं. लॉक मध्ये काय कन्सिडर करणार आहे? नेम. सो इथे मी नंबर पास केल्यानंतर पण मला करेक्ट आउटपुट मिळालं, बिकॉज इथे इंडेक्स आणि नेम हे दोन्ही सेमच होते. इंडेक्स आणि नेम काय होते? सेमच होते. बट इथे जर कॉलमचे नेम पाहिले तर ते 0, 1, 2 असे आहेत का? तसे नाही येत. ते कॉलमचे नेम्स काय आहेत? एबीसी आहे. जर मला ए आणि बी कॉलम पाहिजे तर मग मी इथे कसं करायला पाहिजे? इथे लिहायला पाहिजे कॅपिटल ए, राईट? कॅपिटल फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, if I run it directly, it will throw the error. See, as I said, it will throw the error. It says that index हा integer असू शकत नाही. कोणासाठी? जर मी हा पार्ट रिमूव्ह करतोय सपोज, ठीक आहे, आता तर एरर नाही दिली, इथं तर इंडेक्सच पास केलाय मी. मग काय झालं? इथे कॉलम नेम जे आहेत ते इंडेक्स नाहीत, आता ते नंबर्स नाहीत, ते काय आहेत? आपल्याला अल्फाबेट्स आहेत. सो आयलॉक मध्ये ऑलवेज रिमेंबर वी नीड टू पास दी name. So here I'm going to pass from A to B. Now if you see, it's working now. So it is fetching column A is to column B. So it is going to consider A and B both. Okay. Any question up to this part? Now see for this one. Okay. See for this one. How the lock and ilock will work. See once again. Now here वरती आपण पाहिलं, पण त्याच्यामध्ये आपण काय पाहिलं होतं? आयलॉक मध्ये फक्त रोज पाहिल्या होत्या, कॉलम्स नव्हतं पाहिलं. आता इथे बघा, इफ आय से df3 डॉट ilock स्क्वेअर ब्रॅकेट, रोजचं सिंपल आहे आयलॉक साठी, राईट? सो 0 इज टू सपोज आपल्याला काय घ्यायचंय? पहिले 4 कॉलम घ्यायचे, सपोज 4 रोज घ्यायचे, सपोज दॅट इज ए ए, बी बी, सी सी आणि डी डी. म्हणजे 0, 1, 2, 3. 3 ला थांबायचं नाही आपल्याला, 3 घ्यायचंय आपल्याला. सो आपल्याला एक नंबर जास्त द्यायला लागेल, दॅट इज 4. इथे जर 4 लिहिलं तर तो डीडी पर्यंत जाईल, राईट? डीडी पर्यंत गेला. आता मला काय पाहिजे? कॉलम द्यायचे मला. कॉलम काय असले पाहिजे? सी आयलॉक आहे, आयलॉक मध्ये काय असले पाहिजे? इंटिजर नाव असली पाहिजे, इंटिजर असले पाहिजेत, नंबर असले पाहिजेत. इथे मार्क्स आणि डिव्हिजन टाकून चालणार आहे का? नाही, मला नंबर द्यायला पाहिजे. मग नंबर सपोज मला पाहिजे की ओनली डिव्हिजन पाहिजे मला, तर मी इथे काय देणार? 1. सी डिव्हिजन ए ए सी, ठीक आहे ना? ओनली डिव्हिजन मला इथे मिळाल्या. जर मला ओनली पहिलं दॅट इज मार्क्स पाहिजे तर इथे मला मार्क्स मिळाले, ठीक आहे ना? सो इथे कॉलमला मी काय टाकलंय? नंबर टाकलाय, ठीक आहे? हेच जर मला आयलॉकनी पाहिजे असेल, सॉरी लॉकनी पाहिजे असेल, तर काय करणार? डीएफ डॉट लॉक. इथे कुठून स्टार्ट करायचं आपल्याला? ए पासून स्टार्ट करायचंय. कुठं जायचंय? डीडी पर्यंत जायचंय. मला दोन्ही टाकायला पाहिजे. मग ए ए इज टू डी. हे काय झालं? एवढं जर केलं तर, सॉरी डीएफ काय आपला 3, एवढं जर टाकलं तर काय झालं? ए पासून डीडी पर्यंत गेला. बट मला काय पाहिजे? फक्त मार्क्स पाहिजेत. आता इथे जर पाहिलं ना, इथे काय झालंय? सिरीज मिळाली आपल्याला, राईट? एक होतो त्याच्यामुळे. त्याला डेटा फ्रेम मध्ये करता येईल का? व्हॉट विल हॅपन इफ आय पुट 2 स्क्वेअर ब्रॅकेट? it will not work, right? It's throwing the error right now. Okay. So here we can say 0 is 2, and then if you run it, it is taking all the things, right? So you can mention, so ठीक आहे, हे सांगतो मी तुम्हाला. Is to 0. Okay, so is to 1 if you write, now you are getting the data frame, right? Suppose I wanted to get a data frame for this one. Okay, how can we do this? So right now it's fetching all the columns. I wanted to specifically fetch marks column. So if I say column 0, if you try to fetch, it will throw the error, right? Because log works on names. So these are the names of the rows. Similarly, name of the column is marks. So I cannot say 0. I need to say the name of the column, that is marks. Now if I, sorry, capital name and I small name. Now you are saying this here. Okay. So in this way, the fundamental difference between, this is the major difference between lock and iLock. Okay. Now you can put here also, or there is one more option you can do. See, what is this? A data frame. This is a data frame. So I just fetch the rows. What can I do for column? I'll just put 2 square brackets, and here I'll just say marks. See, we're able to fetch the data frame. Why 2 square brackets? If I put 1, it will become a series. I want a data frame, so I'll just put 2 square brackets. Okay, so we know how we can do this, right? So see here, I'm having this data frame, and I wanted to select specific this column. What I do, I put 2 square brackets, and I just pass this name here. So in this way, I get a data frame. So same thing I have done here. How? See here. I just pass the rows, right? And from this, I wanted to fetch marks only. So I'll just put like this. I will be able to do that. Same thing I can do for this one also. Okay? So here, I wanted to fetch a marks. So what I will do, 2 square brackets and marks. So you can fetch that also. So there are combinations, right? We can pass in the square bracket also, or we can pass it here also. Okay, so this is for columns only. Okay, any question up to this part? Any doubt in this lock and iLock? See, these are very important options, lock and iLock. Most of you will get confused here. Okay.
सेकंड आपण केलं ते लॉक आयलॉकचं पार्ट होता की इंडेक्सिंग केलं आपण?
कुठे हे वाला?
सेकंड मार्क्स डबल
हे नाही, हे इंडेक्सिंग नाहीये. ओके, लॉक अँड आयलॉक इथपर्यंतच होतं. लॉक अँड आयलॉक इथे संपलं. ओके, त्याच्यानंतरचा हा जो पार्ट होता तो सिलेक्शनचा पार्ट आहे. ठीक आहे, जसं तुम्हाला इथे दाखवलं मी. आपल्याकडे डेटा फ्रेम आहे, त्यातलं एक स्पेसिफिक कॉलम सिलेक्ट करायचं हे इथे दिलंय.
ओके.
Okay. Any other question? Anything? ठीक है. Then okay. Okay. ठीक है. So remember these differences. The difference between lock, iLock. Okay. Because interview मध्ये most of the times हे विचारतात. Okay. What is the difference between lock and iLock? So first difference तुम्हाला जो सांगायचा आहे, that is iLock is indexed based, okay, and lock is name based. सेकंड डिफरन्स मी तुम्हाला सांगितलं. सेकंड डिफरन्स काय? iLock मध्ये आपण इंटिजर पास करतो, लॉक मध्ये काय पास करतो? नेम पास करतो. मग नेम तुमचे काय असू शकतात? इंटिजर असू शकतात किंवा स्ट्रिंग असू शकतात. कशावर डिपेंड आहे? इथे बघा, इथे तुमची इंडेक्स काय होती? नंबर्स होते. सो लॉक मध्ये पण काय जाणार? तुमचे नंबर जाणार आहेत, राईट? हा, बट कॉलम नेम बघा, आता कॉलम नेम काय? नावं आहेत ती. सो त्या केसमध्ये लॉक फंक्शन मध्ये तुम्हाला काय करायला पाहिजे? नावच पाठवायला पाहिजे. ठीक आहे ना? तर तो एक डिफरन्स आहे. सेकंड डिफरन्स आहे iLock आणि लॉक मधला मेजर डिफरन्स, जर इंडेक्स नंबरच असेल जसं इथे आहे, राईट? इंडेक्स काय तुमची नंबर आहे. जर मी लॉग फंक्शनला 0 to 5 म्हणलं तर लॉग फंक्शन काय करेल 0 पासून 5 पर्यंत सगळे रेकॉर्ड फेच करेल. पण तेच जर मी आयलॉकला 0 to 5 म्हणलं तर आयलॉक काय करेल 5 पर्यंत जाणार नाही, तो काय करेल 0 पासून 4 पर्यंत फेच करेल. ठीक आहे. एनी क्वेश्चन इन दिस? इज दिस क्लिअर नाउ? So remember these differences because interview मध्ये mostly this type of questions are asked. Okay. So let me see, we have covered everything. Yes. Okay. Yes. Now let me check why it was not working. D2. I say. हा ऑप्शन मी सांगतो. We can pass the index also here. Okay, as you can see here, let us see this part. Okay, so here we have created word array, okay, of random integers. From 1 to 50 we have taken the numbers and size of the array was 5 by 5. So you can see we have created 5 by 5 array. Okay, there are 5 rows and 5 columns, and from that we have created a data frame. See here, we have said pd.data frame. So we have passed this array, right? So there were no column names here. So we can pass the columns also. So we can say column 1 is A, column B, C, D, E. So we can pass the list of columns here. See, this is the list of column names. So that will get automatically applied. If I don't pass that, if I just simply say like this, array, so take it here. Now if I just say pd.data frame without doing anything, capital data frame, and if I pass an array in that, you can see it's going to give a number from 0 to 4 and here also 0 to 4. Now I wanted to specifically mention the columns here, so I can just pass on this columns, and here I'll just pass the anything there. I can just pass A, then let us say C, then D, right? So we can pass the column names here. So even if the column names are not there, you can pass it from here. So we want 5, right? So E. Okay. So this is the list we are passing. So if I change, now run this, you can see these are the column names which are given here. Now we can pass the index also. Now this index by default it is taking from 0 to 4, right? I wanted to specify an index here. I'll just say index is equal to, then I'll pass a list. Index. So I can pass a list here. Suppose I wanted to start from 4. Okay, I wanted to start from 1, suppose. So I can do that. Now if I run this, you can see the index is from 1 to 5. Previously it was 0 to 4. Now specifically I have changed it from 1 to 5. Okay, so this is the option we have in a data frame, that we can give the column names as we want and also index name. Okay, so this is from today's lecture. If you are having any doubt, we'll take that. Okay, next part we'll see tomorrow. Any questions? Okay. So for tomorrow, what we are going to see, so already we have covered this parts like head, tail, info, size, shape, describe. This part we have seen. Also this column, index, access, lock, iLock. Okay. So these things we have already seen. So for tomorrow's lecture, we are going to start with these options now. Is null, is NA, fill NA, and all these options. Okay. Okay. So I think this is enough for today. Next